It has not felt like fall recently, but some big changes are on the way. Very few signs of fall already showing up in the lawn. But with those changes on the way, it's time to wrap up our fall prep. And today on Budget Lawns, we're talking all about pre-emergent. So don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Budget Lawns, folks. If you're new to the channel, thanks for joining us. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Thanks to all my current subscribers. I sure appreciate all your support. We've been working on our two-step process to prepare the lawn for fall and winter. So if you need to get caught up, go back to a few weeks ago where we talked all about fertilizer. Again, this is only two steps, fertilization and pre-emergent, and we're wrapping up those steps today with the pre-emergent. I'm going to give you all the details you'll need to make sure you don't have those weeds coming up throughout the winter and early next spring. And full disclosure on this here, friends, I have never used a pre-emergent before. My front lawn was so thick coming out of last year, I really didn't see anything in the way of weeds. But for the back lawn, totally different story. Lots of the poa-annua coming in, and we want to prevent that. We haven't really seen a need to go ahead and worry about the pre-emergent yet because we've been holding steady here in the low to mid 90s over the last few weeks. But as these days are getting shorter, less sunlight, temperatures looking like they're finally going to go down to seasonal into the lower 80s. That soil temperature is going to start dropping, and it's time to get the pre-emergent down before it drops too low, because we know the POA starts to germinate in the fall, and then we start seeing it in the latter part of the winter, and that's what we're really trying to knock out this year. So I'm going to go through everything I'm going to do to apply the pre-emergent to my lawn, what I'm going to use, how much I'm going to put, and when I'm going to do it. Let's start off with just the tools. You know, I've got my Scotts drop spreader, which I use to spread everything on my lawn. The pre-emergent of choice, Spectricide's Weed Stop for Lawns plus Crabgrass Preventer. The active ingredient in this is dithiopyr. I chose this one because I've used Spectricide products before. Always been pleased with those. So if it ain't broke, you know, don't fix it. We'll give this one a whirl. Also got a little scale here and a bucket so I can measure out the product, make sure I get just the right amount. So how much am I going to put? Well, I've got about 1,500 square feet in my front lawn, about 2,500 square feet in my back lawn. This bag covers around 3,000 square feet. So I'll use a full bag on the back, half a bag on the front. We'll be all set. Went ahead and got 1, 2, 3 bags. That way I can use a bag and a half right now, and then I'll use another bag and a half come December. And then by the time I need it again, all the big box stores will be stocking it again in the spring, and then we'll do our spring pre-emergent then. Oh, and I should mention, each bag, only about 13 bucks. All right, now back to business. The active ingredient in this product is dithiopyr. It has pre-emergent and post-emergent effects. But for this application, this time of year, we're not worried about that post-emergent effect. So that will change the way we apply it to the lawn according to the bag specifications. Since I'm only worried about pre-emergent effects, I'm not going to worry about the grass and the weeds being wet. The reason the bag recommends that is it wants it to have something to stick to so it can last longer on the grass and the weed blades and help kill the weeds better. But I'm not worried about that. I'm only worried about the pre-emergent effects. And in our short-term forecast, we've got good chances for rain. I want to mow this thing. That way I can get as much of it down into the soil as possible. Then that rain will come through, help really wash it into the soil. And that's what we want, so that active ingredient can be activated and give us a better chance for stopping those weeds before they germinate and come up to the surface. When I use this product in the spring, I'll try to get both effects out of the active ingredient, and we'll apply it to the bag specifications so we can, you know, get more bang for our buck. And just like I did with the fertilizer, I'll apply it to the lawn in 2 different directions, north and south, east and west, and I'll use the bag's recommended settings for the Scotts Classic Drop Spreader, setting at 8. I'll cut that in half for one direction and then do the other half in the other. That way I make sure I get the best coverage possible. This sounds really simple, and in theory it should work really great. This weekend we'll get this on the turf and then we just wait and see what happens. Like I said, I've never done this before, but for 13 bucks a bag, I sure as heck will give it a shot. I'm not going to break the bank to keep a few weeds out of my lawn, because it never hurts my feelings to have to go out there and pick them by hand. Call me crazy, but in my mind, that's fun. It's therapeutic. If you thought I was about to dance with this bag of Pre-Emergent like I did that fertilizer, get out of here!